All right, welcome to the weekly podcast for 16bitauto.com. This is Chris. I'm joined with Scott and other Chris. And today...
At you, folks. Thank you.
At you. And today we're going to talk about kind of a hodgepodge of stuff because we didn't have one last week. So first of all, the big release for everybody other than Scott was Dawnguard, because Scott is so infatuated with Spider-Man. I know what that look was, but you were more excited for Spider-Man, weren't you?
I was more excited for Spider-Man, but Spider-Man somewhat disappointed me. Like, it's not a bad game. It's a decent game. I mean, it's just... It wasn't living up to the hype that I, gave it. But, I don't know. My biggest issue with it was that, it's inevitable people are going to compare it to Spider-Man 2 and or Batman, but as far as the combat goes. But it didn't do as good as either of those in either aspect. Like, it wasn't quite as good as Batman's combat, and the swinging and fighting and whatever just didn't really click with me as much as it did in, like, Spider-Man 2 and even Web of Shadows. I mean, the swinging mechanics were way better in both. I don't know.
I know I only played it with you for like 5 minutes, but the graphically it was...
Yeah, graphically it looks amazing. Like, moving around the city is, pretty fluid, but at some point it's almost too fluid. But yet, like, they try and pull off, like, a Mirror's Edge where you're just, like, with the web rush type thing, and it just doesn't work. It kind of slows the pacing down, and, yeah. Okay. I don't know. Well, it's a good game, though. Don't get me wrong. It's a good game. Spider-Man fans will like it. It's just not the best Spider-Man game, in my opinion.
As far as superhero games are considered, should that be a factor?
If you like superhero games, yes, you will like this game.
I only bring that up because of the atrocity that was Superman 64 and how every superhero game has been graded since then. So,
I never played that one.
Neither did I.
I had to, sadly, back when I was...
Was it that bad?
I didn't play the original Spider-Man, though. That was fun.
Was it worse than, like, Aquaman?
That's pushing...
But yeah.
People, they're both horrible. Don't play them.
My issue with, the new Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, is that, being so many years after, like, Spider-Man 2, the fact that I still like that one better, and, it did even physics in a lot of ways better than this game, it's like, why? I mean, if they could do it better back then, why can't you do it better now?
10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the other big release this week was Dawnguard DLC, and to be honest with you, I haven't played too much of it. And the quick explanation why is because, well, as Scott will tell you, we're both just now playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's not really about Dawnguard anymore. I can tell you honestly, I haven't touched Skyrim since about December of last year after putting about 120 hours into it, and now I am hip deep in what is probably 50 quests and a bunch of other stuff. I have become a vampire lord. The abilities are really cool. He is pretty much indestructible if you know how to use him, which is sweet. But Scott took the other path and actually went with Dawnguard. So.
Yeah, I am a total werewolf, sided with the Dawnguard forces, and now slaughtering Chris and his kind.
Cue Twilight references.
Yes, I have never seen Twilight, but I will go Team Edward on Skyrim.
The one thing I will say about the Dawnguard...
Yes, I did go there. I did go there, folks.
And then he did, too.
Huh?
Wrong team.
Wrong team.
Yes, Jacob.
Oh, Jacob. I would totally go Team Jacob. Like I said, I never saw it. Edward.
Okay.
I will not be a sparkly vampire.
Well, in Skyrim, there are actually these hideous monstrosities with giant bat wings who just kick shit's ass, but that's a whole other story.
Luckily, do not sparkle.
Yeah, they do not sparkle.
I don't know, I just like being a werewolf. So as far as I know, there's perks and stuff, but I haven't even used my werewolf form. I've been too busy doing a million other things. Like, I just kind of go across the Dawnguard quest as much as I go across any quest. Like, if I feel like doing it, I go do it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem with the DLC.
Two things I did notice that bug me is I don't think there's any new voice actors for this. I think it's still the recycled ones from the main game, which isn't necessarily a really bad
There's
thing.
like one or two new ones.
Yeah, because there were really good voice actors. It's just you're going to hear the same voices over and over again.
Like pretty much everybody who's a Stormcloak soldier sounds exactly the same.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The second thing is that I do not like that when you're in the vampire lord form, or I assume it's the same thing for the werewolf, and you bring up the radial menu of your abilities, the only thing you're actually able to see at that point is your vampire lord perks, which I kind of wish. I'm not somebody who levels up immediately when they level up, if you know what I'm saying, so I kind of like to look and wait and see which. And you have to actually revert form and become a human again before you can see your smithing or your destruction. Or I mean, it's a small complaint. It's just something that annoys me. But other than that, I'm having fun with it. I'm probably only a quarter way through it. You're probably about half.
Probably. I got a really, like, one of the things you could get in it. I got a few new shouts actually, which are actually pretty cool. A new horse, which, you know, I'm not going to say anything because of possible spoilers, but it's pretty awesome. And yeah, just the storyline so far has been really good. Like, it's actually engaging. Oh, and I can have a pet dog, and that is awesome. And it's like a husky. Huskies are like my favorite dogs.
Was that a Fallout 1
Yeah,
reference?
Fallout 3, man.
Or Fallout 3.
Fallout 3, you could have a dog, but this is even better because it's a husky.
It was a shepherd in Fallout, wasn't it?
I think something like that,
Shepherds, police dogs, man.
Dude, huskies are nuts, though.
Yeah.
Getting back to
They're
the
awesome.
topic at hand, people, is it worth the $20?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Easily.
Because
Worth $20.
I would say it adds. Well, here's the thing: if you're comparing it to the Shivering Isles, which launched at $30, maybe not, because you got about 25 to 30 hours out of the Shivering Isles.
I don't even care.
Dawnguard, you're gonna get 8, but yeah, it's worth it. You're just not getting as much for your money. But
Well, and again, it gives you a reason to go back and play Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like, I know you have more to do in that game.
who doesn't?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. The other game that I played this week and was actually really pretty impressed with was Spec Ops: The Line. After playing the previous Spec Ops game, I was not looking forward to reviewing this title, but I have to say that Nolan North as the main character is excellent.
When isn't he, though?
I mean, it gives you a reason to play.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Is like that in itself lends credibility to the series to have somebody that.
Well, he is such a good voice actor. I didn't even know it was him playing the Penguin in Batman Arkham City.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even realize it until I saw it in a random interview that he did that. I'm like, what?
Everybody knows his voice,
Yeah.
but they don't know all he's capable of. But yeah, Spec Ops is actually pretty good. I will say, the gameplay-wise, it's not great. It's good, but the storyline is fantastic. It's something that kept me hooked throughout the game. I wanted to see what happens next, and the game really does focus on kind of the atrocities of war and what will happen. Essentially what happens is Dubai is wasted by a sandstorm, and servicemen and women are stranded there, and it goes to show you that after months of being pretty much left for dead, what people will do to survive. It's pretty disturbing. It's actually a very mature game, but the storyline is really good. I would say maybe not a buy at $60, but definitely a rent. And for those of you who are just looking for a third-person shooter with something a little bit different, Spec Ops is probably a go for you.
I have to ask this because of you see more morality in video games as lately. I know it was in Spec Ops. Does it play a big role, and do you feel the effects of it?
Yes and no. Most of what you see is stuff that's already happened that you're not contributing to. So you're not necessarily making choices that are affecting things. Rather, you're seeing the effects of what other people are doing. So.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the story's good. It kept you, wanting to see what happens next.
Yeah.
That doesn't really happen with a lot of games anymore. I mean, I get bored with them in the first, few hours because after a while, I don't care to see what happens.
Especially
next.
shooters, too.
I only say that because even though BioShock is a great game, the morality choices in it aren't really that. You don't really feel the impact from it because you can just load up another game and start it. I very rarely feel that. Mass Effect is about the only game series that you can see in a long period of time the effects of your choices and understand you can't go back and change them. Those are set in stone, and you're pretty much stuck with it.
And then in the end, it doesn't even matter.
Shut up.
Lincoln.
Shut up. Oh, speaking of that, Mass Effect 3 ending DLC.
Oh, yay!
We finally got it. I've played through all 4 endings. Yes, now there's 4. And I have to say, I applaud BioWare for totally trolling all those angry fans who were freaking out with the 4th option because it's, well, let's just say it's a big middle finger to those of you who say you don't care. And in the end, they cleared up a lot of what fans were complaining about. So in a way that made sense too. That being said, the true ending still does feature Shepard not dying, or
Which
at
is
least
awesome.
Yes. So there's still possibility of more Mass Effect. Freaking out about that. Anything else going on with you guys this week?
Other than I'm procrastinating my Pokemon Conquest because it is not the type of game normal fans of the series are going to get into just as quickly.
Yeah.
It's a strategic game, people. If you played Final Fantasy Tactics over, any sort of tactics game, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, throwing Pokemon in the mix, and setting it in feudal Japan, it's a nice twist, but if you have not played Samurai Warriors, a Koei game, because they co-produced it, you're not going to have any idea who the hell most of these people you're talking to are. Maybe Nobunaga Oda, because he's been in other games, such as Onimusha on the PS2. Very good game series if you go check it out, but still. The gameplay works. I'm still in the 5th. I think I've only got 5 kingdoms conquered at this point. It's just really hard for me to get into just because of what it is. Don't get me wrong, people. This is a really good adaptation, and I applaud Game Freaks for going away from tradition. Very much so. That being said, it's a hard way to go about it because you have really no other way to base it upon.
Yeah. Okay, really quick, I want to throw in the new Star Wars patch is out, 1.3 for the Old Republic. It adds a ton to the game, makes the game a lot more fluid, makes it easier to find parties, groups. The flashpoints, which are basically dungeons, you can actually group up with people now, and like in a group finder. You don't have to sit there looking for group, wasting about an hour trying to find a group for one flashpoint that most people, that like 1 or 2 end up quitting so you can't finish anyway. You actually have a group finder, people queue up for roles, you join, you go. It's way more simple, you can keep questing while you're waiting, and it's just phenomenal addition to the game, and it made me insanely happy. Yeah, they have ranked war zones in there now. Pretty much they just added most of what they've been wanting to add for a while now, so if you haven't tried Star Wars yet and you really like MMOs and or Mass Effect,
Or Knights of the Old
Republic would be a good one, go give this game a try. Now would be the time to do it since they just got the patch. There's a ton of people playing it. Just make sure you get on a heavy server so there's more people to play with.
Okay, cool.
And
Well,
last thing, try to get Chris to play this game. If you want to donate, like, say, $400 or $500, we'll put every penny of that into getting him a computer to
my
play Star
video
Wars.
card will not accept it. I'm crying about it. I actually am pretty frustrated because now that I've seen him play it, I want to play it even more.
Yeah.
So
It makes me want to get some processing power in my computer. So if I try running that stupid website on it, it will not run it. I'm so mad.
Really?
Yeah.
System Requirements Lab, in case you guys were wondering what website.
Yeah.
Tells you what your computer can or can't run.
Just
shows you
Google.
exactly what's in your computer. Just type "can you run it" into Google if you're wondering
First
where that
one
is. So.
pops up. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Catch us next week for the following podcast for 16bitaudit.com. Thanks.
Check you later.